these Copycat Popeyes biscuits, you're going to take 1 stick of butter in your 9x13 pan. This is my family's heirloom. I know it looks really rough, but it's like 60 years old and I just can't get rid of it. So we're going to put our butter and melt it in the oven. Okay, got my 4 cups of baking mix in here. Then I'm going to add my club soda or seltzer water. I don't know, is there a difference between club soda and seltzer? I hope not. All they had was seltzer at the store. So we'll see. Oops. If the recipe doesn't turn out, I guess then we'll know. And then my sour cream. 1 cup of sour cream. Okay. Now, here's a little tip. I always save my measuring cup and I put my dirty spoons and stuff in there when I have them. Now, yes, normally I scoop out with this, but I totally forgot. So I'm just going to have a dirty spoon this time. No. This recipe is in our Dining on a Dime Cookbook, Volume 2 on page 108. You can see we love this recipe. Also in the description below at livingonadime.com, you can get our cookbooks on sale right now. Go grab your copy using the link in the description below. Okay, my butter's not totally melted, but I'm pulling it out before it starts browning, and I'll just let it finish melting while I get my dough together. Now normally I just use my hands, but I happen to get these food gloves for free at a yard sale, and so I have been using them when I have my fingernails on so that I can not have to dig the dough out from underneath my fingernails. You like my fingernails, dear?
Ooh, they're very nice.
Those are acrylics, and I paid $2 using an Amazon kit doing it at home versus $200. I saved myself $200 for the nail and then the fill.
Wow.
Going to the salon. I thought that was pretty darn tootin' good, don't you think?
Yep.
Are you impressed?
Yes.
I'll leave the link down there for you guys. Okay, so normally I don't do this, but I don't feel like digging out all the dough under my fingernails, so there we go. Okay, so then we're going to gently just get the dough together. Okay, these aren't the best gloves. I needed the other gloves. They're sliding off my hand. Okay, knead it together, so let's get it on the table because this isn't kneading very well. Okay, here we go. Now with biscuit dough, you don't want to over knead it because quick breads that use baking powder and baking soda instead of yeast for their rising agent, leavening agent, however you want to say that, they don't need, you don't want to knead them too much because then they'll fall, then they'll be tough and you want them nice and flaky. Okay, but this one I got just a titch too much flour. Well, maybe, yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to move that flour to the side because I got just a titch too much. So then we're going to pat out our dough. You want it about 2 inches. So let me show you how to easily measure. From the tip of your finger to your first knuckle is 1 inch. So I want it about this thick. So I just hold my finger up there and I'm right there. Then you're going to take your biscuits. Yes, they're huge, but that's what you want them. And you're going to dip them in your butter. See, I'm doing my pattern all crazy. Then all our OCD people have something to talk about. Guys, it is the dumbest things that people comment on our channel. I mean, you just would not believe what YouTubers have to put up with for comments, because most of the YouTubers like us delete the really dumb things, but I guarantee you somebody will comment about how I didn't put all of my biscuits in a row correctly. Or the other one is diabetes and blood pressure. Oh my goodness. I'm sure if you have diabetes and blood pressure, you know that you need less salt or you need less carbs or whatever. But they always gotta comment. Gotta get their 2 cents in. I get it, I get it. Do I have to ever get my 2 cents in, dear? I don't.
Always.
Okay, and then the dog biscuit. Where did the dog biscuit come from, dear? Do you know? Do you remember?
Wasn't that C.W. Butch Welch from the Dutch Oven and Camp Cooking Show
Yes.
I used to produce?
When Mike worked at
Be part of
PBS,
the production group.
he produced that show. Did anybody watch it? Let me know if anybody watched it. That's funny. Okay, so now we're going to put these in the oven at 400 degrees for about 25 minutes. Oh, yum.
Yum, yum.
Yum, yum. Okay. Hot. Nice and flaky. Oh, flaky, flaky. These ones, now you just kind of have to watch on the time. It's anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. This took almost 30 minutes. Okay, thumbnail while it's cooling. Smile. Very good. Okay.
I'll have to live with their folks. Mmm. Mm-hmm. Mm.
Tastes like Popeyes.
Mm-hmm.
Nice and fluffy but crispy.
Yes. Yes. Whoops.
See how flaky
Or it's still
they are?
hot. Mm-hmm.
Look at that yummy goodness. Oh my. Oh my. That is the perfect biscuit. This recipe uses self-rising flour that already has the baking powder and salt in it. If you do not have self-rising flour, all you have to do is add your salt and baking powder, not soda. This is how you measure baking powder. You put it in there, scrape it along the side, just like so. Then whisk your self-rising flour or your flour and your salt and your baking powder together to get it nice and fluffy. Then we're going to measure our shortening, and here's an easy trick for measuring shortening. I need 1/4 cup of shortening. So I have filled my 2-cup measure to 1 3/4 cups with water. Now remember, water and oil don't mix. So I'm putting my shortening in until it rises. Can you see right there the 2? And that will be a 1/4 cup of shortening. If you need a 1/2 cup of shortening, just put 1 1/2 cups of water in. Right there we go. Then you're going to take your shortening out of your water, let it drain, and put it in your flour. Next, you're going to measure out your 3/4 cups of milk, just regular whole milk. Then you're going to take your fingers and you're going to mix the shortening into the flour. You don't need knives, you don't need a pastry blender, just quickly and gently get that shortening mixed in with the flour until you get nice little pea-sized clumps. See, it's pea-sized and smaller. That's absolutely perfect. Then we're going to pour in our milk and stir it around. Now you want this to be a fairly sticky dough. You don't want it too dry. If it's too dry, add 1 to 2 tablespoons of milk until you get it to a nice consistency. If it's too sticky, then just add a little extra flour. You're going to put this on your floured board or floured counter, and you're going to knead it just until it's nice and smooth. See how nice and smooth that is? Then you can use a rolling pin, but why dirty something that you don't need to dirty? Then you're going to press it out. You're going to take your biscuit cutter and push straight down and lift up. Look at that. That is absolutely perfect right there. Don't twist or turn. You want to just straight down and lift. If you don't have a biscuit cutter, don't worry, just pick off a piece of dough and just bring it together. Mine was a little falling apart there. Bring it together until you have a nice little biscuit like that. Okay? And then you can just make it with your hands. You don't even need a biscuit cutter. Okay, and there's our dog biscuit, as they call it. Now, if you have a dark pan, you will need to turn your heat down 25 degrees. But I am using my stainless steel cookie sheet here, lined with parchment paper. But if you're using a non-stick pan, make sure you turn it down 25 degrees, okay? Then you want to put your biscuits. For nice fluffy biscuits, put them so that they're touching, and when they're touching, they help each other rise and get all nice and beautiful. We're going to put this in a 500-degree oven. Yes, I said 500 degrees. That was not a mistake. For 10 to 12 minutes until golden brown. Thank you for watching our entire video. We're going to give you our Dining on a Dime cookbook ebook volume number 1 free at livingonadime.com. Click on our shop, click on our ebooks, click on Dining on a Dime volume 1, add it to your cart. When you go to checkout, use the coupon code DINING1 and you will get our ebook absolutely free with no obligation and no strings attached. Visit us at livingonadime.com. Here is our yummy biscuits. You want to hold on to your parchment so they don't slide. But look at this. Look at that yummy goodness. Oh my. Oh my. That is the perfect biscuit.
There you go.
Oh, isn't that delicious? Okay, we're going to put a nice blob of butter. Wow. I know my boys are going to devour these in 5 minutes. This recipe is in the description below. Alright guys, this uses self-rising flour and plain yogurt. You don't want flavored yogurt. If you do not have self-rising flour, you can just add your own salt and your own baking powder, not baking soda, baking powder. And for those of you curious how to measure baking powder, you put it in here and scrape it along the side, and that's how you measure it. Then you want to whisk your flour or self-rising flour and get it all nice and fluffy. Then we are going to add in the yogurt. Now, plain yogurt is thinner than Greek yogurt, so you will need less plain yogurt than you do Greek yogurt. The recipe is in the description below. I start with 1 cup of self-rising flour and 1 cup of plain yogurt, and I see how well the dough comes together. Now, that's still very dry, so I'm going to add a little bit more yogurt here. how this works is the yogurt activates the baking powder and helps it rise. So you don't need fat or anything else in your biscuits like you normally make. Okay, so can you see how really sticky? That's really sticky, and that's looks good. Then you're going to flour your cutting board or whatever board, your countertop, whatever. Then you're going to pour your dough onto your flour. And then you're going to gently knead it until it's smooth but still sticky. You don't want it dry because then you won't have nice fluffy biscuits, okay? Now it's still just a tad too sticky, but we're almost there. And you can tell if it's too sticky if it's still sticking to your hands. So did you see how that stuck to my hands? You want it to not stick to your hands, but still be pretty moist. And I think maybe just a bit more. Yep, all right, there we go. So then we're going to pat this out all nice and neat. For your pan, you can use a regular baking pan like this. If it's a dark pan, you need to turn your heat down 25 degrees because the dark pans have a tendency to burn. So you need to turn it down 25 degrees if using a dark pan. I'm using my great-grandmother's skillet just because it's fun to use. Lightly grease your skillet, push straight down. See how I pushed straight down and I didn't twist? Push straight down. No twisting. And you're going to put them next to each other in the pan. That helps them rise taller. They hold each other up and they rise taller in the pan. Look at that. Yum. Okay. We're going to bring the dough back together. Don't work it too much. Straight down. Look at that. And then the last one probably won't cut out. Now, if you don't have a biscuit cutter, don't worry. Just take your dough and pat it into little biscuits with your hand, just like so. And it will work just fine, okay? Now, we are going to put this in a 500-degree oven. Yes, that is not a mistake. I said 500 degrees for 8 to 10 minutes. This recipe is brought to you by our Dining on a Dime cookbook. Quick and easy recipes to help you save money on your next trip to the grocery store. Visit us at livingonadime.com to get your copy today. There are your yummy, super fluffy, homemade 2-ingredient biscuits. Look at that yummy goodness right there. Ooh, hot, hot, hot. Then we're gonna put a nice blob of butter. The recipe is in the description below. Please visit us at livingonadime.com. All right, I am making some biscuits to go with my barbecue meatballs. I was gonna make some dinner rolls, but I ran out of eggs. So this is a good alternative when you don't have eggs to make some biscuits. Okay, get all mixed around. All right. Then you can use margarine or butter or shortening. I'm using shortening because I need to get it used up. It also makes my biscuits fluffier. Okay, I need to make this like my grandma. So this is in our Dining on a Dime cookbook, volume 1 on page 116. I need to make my grandma's, my great grandma's recipe, because Because what she used to do, she just used to have a big bowl of flour. So I'm just mixing in the shortening now just by getting it all declumpified. And she would do a great big do a great big bowl and just leave the flour all week in there and just keep adding milk in the center. And I'm gonna have to try that sometime and see. She did use buttermilk, which this is Mike's baking powder biscuits, so I'm gonna add a little bit of vinegar to my milk to make it sour. Okay, a little bit of milk, and it's gonna sour my milk for me. Just give it just a minute to get soured. Okay. All right, and there we go. Yeah, so biscuits are a great alternative when you don't have eggs, and a good depression recipe. Okay. Wow, got that pretty close. Don't even need to flour my counter because I got it so close. Perfect. Okay. Okay, just for fun, I'm going to use this square biscuit cutter. I just thought it would be fun. And I'm making extra large biscuits this time. And there's the pheasant saying that he's ready for dinner. And here's the dog biscuit. Oops. Okay, and I'm going to throw those in the oven to bake with my barbecue meatballs. And here are the biscuits. Yum.
Which biscuit recipe was this, dear?
It was yours.
Oh, well, that's good.
You knew they were darn
I
good.
still like them. They're darn tootin' good.
Hello, today we are making 2 ingredient biscuits. These are super easy. It uses heavy whipping cream and self-rising flour. Yes, just 2 ingredients. Your heavy whipping cream is your fat and your milk. So that's all combined because it's the heavy whipping cream, so the fat and milk are in there. Then your self-rising flour already has your salt and your baking powder in it. But if you don't have self-rising flour, you can make your own and just put your salt and your baking powder in there. This is in the description below. I will leave the link to our website. You can find the recipe there. Then just take a whisk and fluff your flour and mix in your baking powder and salt if you don't have self-rising flour, okay? Now, you're going to take your whipping cream and you're going to start with the lowest amount. Now, this is 1 cup of flour to approximately 1 to 1.5 cups of whipping cream. Start with 1 cup and see how your dough looks. Now, if it's too dry and doesn't come together, you want to add more whipping cream. If it's too moist and just super sticky, then you want to add just a little bit more flour. Now, honestly, this looks actually almost perfect. So let me show you the consistency. Can you see how that's pretty sticky? See how it's sticking to my fingers? That's pretty sticky. Okay, so then you're going to take more self-rising flour, sprinkle it on your board, and then you're going to knead it just a bit. I mean, you don't want to knead in too much flour, so I think I already have too much flour, but just knead it in until you get a nice smooth dough, but not too smooth, or not too dry, I should say. You want it smooth but not dry, and you can still see how it's still kind of sticking to my fingers, but it's smooth. That's where you want it. All right, then just pat it out, and you're going to cut it out with your biscuit cutter. Now, if you don't have a biscuit cutter, you can pull pieces off just like so and just form your biscuit that way if you would like. Okay, so you don't need a biscuit cutter or anything for this. All right, you want it about 3/4 of an inch thick, and in case you're wondering, from the end of your finger to your first knuckle is an inch, so that's about 3/4 of the way. And then just push straight down and lift up. Don't twist. See, just like that. We're gonna push down. No twisting is happening. When you twist, it pushes down the layers, and then you won't have a super fluffy biscuit. See, isn't that nice? Then just bring together the leftovers. Pat them down 1 or 2 more times. Nice. And then this one will just form a nice little biscuit. Now, for your pan, you can use a regular baking pan like this. This is a non-stick. If it's a dark pan, you will need to turn your heat down 25 degrees. Dark pans cook hotter, and so you need to turn your heat down 25 degrees. I'm using my great-grandmother's iron skillet here, and if you have a pan that needs to be greased like an iron skillet or a pan that's not a non-stick pan, just put a little bit of oil in there. I just use shortening. Or you can just put it on a piece of parchment paper or you can put it on a cookie sheet lined with parchment paper. Now we're going to put all of our biscuits in here fairly close. You want them touching because that helps them rise and it makes a nice fluffy biscuit. We're going to put this in the oven at 500 degrees. Yes, that is not a mistake. 500 degrees for just 8 to 10 minutes, and then we'll show you our yummy biscuit. Look how nice and fluffy those are. This recipe can be double, tripled, or quadrupled. Look at that fluffy goodness right there. Yum. Okay, let's break one open. Hot. Big old blob of butter. Oh, yum. Doesn't that look delicious? There you have easy 2-ingredient biscuits. The recipe is in the description below. Please visit us at livingonadime.com. Delicious goodness.
Yeah, it's really good.
Does it help soothe? So you decided you wanted some more, huh?
Why are you recording me?
Because I have to have social proof that they taste good.
Okay, that's fine. If you're recording me for that reason, then I guess that's fine.
And because you're handsome and I love you.
I'm sure. Gonna have to take out that part of me picking up the butter with my fingers. People are gonna get mad.
Okay, I'm making some garlic pull apart bread. Now, what I'm gonna do is, margarine is cheaper right now, so I'm gonna take a little bit of margarine and put it in my pan. I would say probably a half a stick if you have a stick of margarine or butter. Then I'm gonna put this pan in my oven and let all the margarine melt. All right, while the margarine is melting, I have these jumbo biscuits. My family loves these. Woo! And then what I'm going to do is take my handy dandy little cutter and just, oops, cut these in quarters, just like so. Butter is almost, my margarine, almost all melted. I'll give it just a minute more. Okay, call that done. Now, the reason why I did it in the oven is because I already had my chicken in there roasting, so you can do it in the microwave if you want. All right, and there we go. I'm going to take my garlic, I don't know, half a teaspoon or so, and mix that around. Then we're just going to take our pieces of biscuit and just get it all wrapped around there. Yum. All right, now we're gonna put this back in the oven, 400 degrees. Okay, and there is our garlic biscuits. Oh my goodness, it smells so delicious. Yum. Wait, did you just sneak a bun? So, how's it taste?
Amazing. I'm a garlic lover and it's definitely garlicky.